I embraced the trail that I was placed on, and I tried to add to those trailblazers that made a way for me.
Giving up is not an option in my classroom. Your dream should be as big as this world, bigger than this world.
Don't give up on that dream. Don't give up on that vision of being in this job.
It's my job, it's my duty to make sure that I educate the next generation to come.
The most rewarding part is those students who come back and thank me for instilling those strong work ethics in them.
We stand on the shoulders of people that weren't allowed to have an education.
Our membership is Black, white, Hispanic, and so for them to be involved, I can't walk away.
It's a reward that you can do it and you're able to possess certain skills to help somebody, save somebody's life maybe one day.
Because if not me, then who else? It's my passion to educate. It's my passion to allow my students to know that this world is big and to open their minds to whatever it is that they want to do. There's no limits to the sky. We like to say that the sky's the limits. There's no limits.
I always say Black history is Tampa history.
Welcome to this special presentation as we here at ABC Action News celebrate Black History Month. I'm Andrew Kinsey.
I'm Dia Riley. This is part of our mission to highlight voices throughout the Tampa Bay area of people who are making a difference in our community. And over the next hour, we'll introduce you to some of the amazing people that we've gotten to know over the last few weeks.
When you think of Black History Month, we often remember the teachings of so many who shaped our nation. But over the years, that mantle has been picked up by everyday change makers. And they include many right here in our community who every day add to that history with sacrifices and unwavering determination to make this a better place for all.
I did 32 years, and if I was younger, I'd do it over again.
All over again?
Yeah.
A commitment to service that had no boundaries.
Bosnia, Somalia, Haiti, Afghanistan, Iraq.
Serving in every U.S. combat operation since Desert Storm until his retirement in 2004 at MacDill Air Force Base, retired U.S. Army Command Sergeant Major Dwight Brown has bravely paved the way for others, despite challenges over the years abroad and even on the home front. Originally from Lexington, Kentucky, Brown joined the Army at 19. His commitment to service and giving back to the nation rooted deep in his family bloodline.
To whom much is given, much is required, and we believe that.
An unwavering commitment during a time when the feelings weren't so mutual by many in this country for men and women who looked like him.
I did not see a lots of people of higher rank that looked like me. And because of the climate of the military at that time, I came in the military in 73. It was right after Vietnam, or the ending of Vietnam. And as you well know, the racial tensions and integration was in its prime during that time. And those attitudes were in the military also.
Historically, the U.S. military had been heavily segregated, with African Americans serving in separate units and facing systemic discrimination. However, over the decades, a journey of change and progress unfolded, leading to the integration of African Americans into the highest enlisted ranks, like Command Sergeant Major Dwight Brown.
I embraced the trail that I was placed on, and I tried to add to those trailblazers that made a way for me.
Which included mentoring those rising in the ranks.
I sought opportunities to find qualified, deserving females and minorities to give them opportunities that they may not have normally gotten.
That passion for seeing others succeed didn't stop when Brown retired 20 years ago. It continues today in a different capacity. In the courtroom, he's serving as a mentor with the Tampa Veterans Treatment Court, helping service members that have found themselves in the court system for things related to traumas and experiences from serving the country.
Jail is not the answer. We can't allow the behaviors that they have to exist, but we have to address it in a manner other than punishment. Let's get them fixed. Let's be transformable in their lives so that they can come back productive citizens and make a difference, give back to the nation rather than taking away from it.
It's a lifeline now offered in every state, mirrored by the work done right here in Tampa Bay by Brown and other change makers. What would be your legacy?
My legacy, I would hope to be that every place I was assigned, every job I had, it was a better place when I left because I was there.
And as we continue to celebrate Black History Month, we are digging into big changes coming to Tampa. Last year, the city announced its first Black History Museum. ABC Action News reporter Kenny McCormick has this inside look.
Right now, this building sits as an empty space, a blank canvas, as some may call it. But it will soon transform into Tampa's very first Black History Museum, highlighting the history and stories that unfolded right here in our community.
Tampa, Florida, rich in culture and Black history, something that deserves to be celebrated and remembered.
I always say Black history is Tampa history. We were there when every significant activity took place in this city, and we're still here.
Fred Hearns with the Tampa Bay History Center tells me they were here, helping to build and establish this great place that so many of us now call home.
Working on Davis Islands, working on Bayshore, working and living in West Tampa, East Tampa, every neighborhood, there have been Black people who made a difference.
Hearns is the curator of Black history at the Tampa Bay History Museum. Right now, he's hard at work gathering artifacts for Tampa's very first Black History Museum, opening up right here off Central Avenue. One of the pieces that will be in the museum to help tell the story of Black history in Tampa is coming from Leroy Long, a Tampa tennis star.
We went out to the one court that we had in West Tampa at Edgewater Playground, and that's how my career started.
Long played all 4 years in high school, then went on to get a scholarship and play at Florida A&M University. But he tells me he'll never forget the roots that built him. It all started at Howard Blake High School.
Make sure they see that.
Long's Letterman jacket is one of the many pieces that will sit inside Tampa's Black History Museum. He tells me he hopes to inspire the entire Tampa community and educate them on the Black history that helped to build this city.
We still have some things that we need to keep working on. Understand that, we're all human, we're all in this thing together. The one way you can confront that is to educate yourself.
Reporting in Tampa, Keely McCormick, ABC Action News.
Next, we're meeting a Pasco County man who has spent 3 decades dedicated to his job and to helping others. Pasco County reporter Eric Waxler listened to Eugene Scott about his passion for making his community a better place.
I enjoy working, let me put it like that.
Eugene Scott is back to where he first started more than 30 years ago, working in the maintenance department for the Pasco County School District.
I actually am working for the young man that I hired.
One of the reasons Eugene won't retire is some of his salary goes to fund his other passion, the after-school program he started in the late 80s called This Is How We Do It.
Well, my neighborhood was called a drug-infested African-American community. And I said, we're not all drug users in our community.
So he and other volunteers with the African American Club of Pasco County invite kids here for music, dance, and yes, plenty of food.
Kids love our food. And the kids enjoy it. We don't force them to come. They come because they want to come.
The current location is the old Booker T. Washington School that was Pasco County's first African American school. Eugene was a student here, but now he is a mentor. He's thought about slowing down, but doesn't want to abandon the other volunteers.
Our membership is Black, white, Hispanic, and so for them to be involved, I can't walk away.
And meanwhile, back at his actual job, he's finishing up one project and on to the next.
Once I hook that up, and they'll be ready to rock and roll.
In Pasco County, Eric Waxler, ABC Action News.
Making a difference one photo at a time.
Still ahead, meet the local photographers using their work to spread awareness.
You're watching ABC Action News, part of the Scripps News Group.
Welcome back. They cover different worlds and don't know each other, but their cameras unite them.
As ABC Action News continues to celebrate Black History Month, Michael Paluska introduces us to a pair of photographers promoting representation through their work.
For this report for Black History Month, we're sitting down with 2 amazing photographers, one using his lens for wildlife conservation photography, the other hitting the streets in Tampa with her camera to document the George Floyd protests. Behind me, the champs, it's on fire. That is thick black smoke coming from the champs. They're firefighters, there's no law enforcement, there's just a lot of people. It is a dichotomy of two starkly different worlds, two photographers, two different passions, one common thread. Photography. Ashley Kane Morrow documenting civil unrest, George McKenzie Jr., nature. While we traveled into the past with Morrow, we lived in the moment with McKenzie Jr.
Just making U-turns in the scrub. You guys wanted an adventure, right?
Heck yeah.
Here's your adventure.
Traveling off the beaten path deep into the Florida Wildlife Corridor, where baby hogs zigzagged in front of our car.
It just turns real jungly.
His enthusiasm contagious.
Yo, I don't have a photo of that.
Be very quiet.
No, it's the woodpecker. That's so crazy. Yo, that's so wild. What a day. Sick. The only thing we need to see now is a panther walking. And then we're like, all right, cool, we're done. Story's over. See you guys later.
George will tell you, you won't see a lot of black guys in the middle of the forest setting camera traps, chasing panthers, and he's working to change that.
Well, I'll even do you one better. There are not a lot of black wildlife photographers who speak English as their first language. That's my thing. I'm not saying I'm the only one of my kind. However, this is what I do. I don't do anything else. It's not a side hustle to me. It's not a hobby. This is my life.
For you, what's Black History Month mean?
It's a really good time for me to reflect on the fact that I'm living my ancestors' wildest dreams. And being able to highlight black excellence, being a black American is such a privilege in my book. I get to live and do things in a country where I can honestly do it. A lot of kids live in urban settings now, and they don't get an opportunity to experience this. So when they run into me and then they hear, oh, you're from Brooklyn? What are you doing in the middle of nowhere? I'm like, dude, it's the most amazing thing ever.
Well, you think about where we're sitting right now. I was in this parking lot when the Champs was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
You saw everything going down, and just you grabbed your camera and came out into the craziness because
I actually do not know. I felt like I wanted to see it for myself.
Back in the urban jungle, Morrow reflects on the civil unrest of May 2020. Peaceful protests turning violent as darkness falls. What impact do you think your camera made that night?
I think this camera, I think it allowed people that may not have been able to come out there, I think it gave them the ability to see from my perspective, a black woman's perspective, what was happening outside. I started to wrangle up other black photographers because I feel like even in the civil rights movement, a lot of black photographers, if there were that many photographing that movement, were given that much exposure. This camera, I think it sparked that fire in me to use it for good.
Nature truly doesn't care about your ethnicity, doesn't care about where you're from.
Something that can be a powerful tool in showing people the things that they may not realize are going on near them.
All it wants you to do is embrace it, enjoy it, and be conscious and protect it.
In Tampa with photojournalist Reed Moeller, Michael Paluska, ABC Action News.
A Pinellas County teacher is pushing her students to dream big. Still ahead, how she's inspiring them in the classroom and why she is passionate about education.
Welcome back. As we continue to celebrate Black History Month, we want to keep telling the stories of people right here in our community who are striving for excellence.
And that's why we're shining a light on a Pinellas County teacher encouraging her kids to dream big.
And I feel that every day that I walk into this class and I'm able to introduce them to something new or help them foster their creativity, that's my goal. That's why I teach.
That is Brandy Ashby. She's a third grade teacher at Campbell Park Elementary School. She's a top 10 finalist for Teacher of the Year in Pinellas County, and her motto is Dream Big.
As ABC Action News reporter Heather Lee shows us, in her classroom, there are no limits.
Take a seat, get comfortable.
All right, good morning, guys. Good morning.
Let's join these third graders getting ready to learn.
Today, we are going to be concentrating on writing a narrative.
It may be challenging, but Miss Brandy Ashby's students are always up for the task.
Giving up is not an option in my classroom. Your dreams should be as big as this world, bigger than this world.
With that mindset, anything is possible. Let Elias and Aaliyah tell you.
She's a nice teacher, and she really helps to encourage students. And she holds us accountable for what we do.
And who remembers this book? You guys remember reading this book at the beginning of the year? What about this one?
For 10 years, Miss Ashby has been engaging her students at Campbell Park Elementary School in Pinellas County.
I don't want to just stand behind a podium. I want to move around. I want them to be excited. And I learned that from them because I have different learners, kids that learn in different ways. So that means I have to teach in different ways.
The range is wide, and during this Black History Month and every one to follow, she says students should learn all history.
We stand on the shoulders of people that weren't allowed to have an education, or the education was stripped from them, and that it's my job, it's my duty to make sure that I educate the next generation to come.
Just like her great-grandfather taught her before he passed away at 89.
My biggest supporter was my great-grandfather, who only had a third grade education, and he told me time after time again, school is the way, education is the way, education is the way. You've got to go get it, because in the end, they can't take that away from you. It kind of left it up to our imagination to decide what actually happened next.
Ah, the imagination. It's so wondrous. Miss Ashby aspires to be a faculty researcher at the university level, working on research to support minority boys in literacy.
Because if not me, then who else? It's my passion to educate. It's my passion to allow my students to know that this world is big and to open their minds to whatever it is that they want to do. There's no limits to the sky. We like to say that the sky's the limits. There's no limits.
Not even for herself. Heather Lee, ABC Action News.
Still ahead, we're taking a closer look at race-based hair discrimination, where things stand with the new legislation that could protect workers. As we continue celebrating Black History Month, we're taking a closer look at race-based hair discrimination and legislation that would make it illegal.
ABC Action News reporter Larissa Scott spoke with multiple people about this. She shares their stories and the efforts to educate the community.
I couldn't do nothing with them braids.
If you're lucky, you'll find a job that you love, one that doesn't feel like a job at all.
Doing hair is like therapy.
Misha Wilkins is one of those lucky ones.
I like to bridge that gap between self-care and just your overall mental wellness.
She owns the Natural Hair Experience. It's a salon in Tampa. I wanted to talk to her about the natural hair movement, where Black people, primarily women, choose not to chemically straighten their hair. She says she's seen more people join the movement recently.
We're doing more protective styles like braids or locks or even weaves and wigs.
When it comes to the natural hair movement, I've joined it too in recent years. So I wanted to ask an expert, what's behind the popularity of it?
Now we see a kind of resurgence.
This is Aisha Durham, a communications professor at USF who specializes in cultural studies and representation.
Black people have always used hair as a point, like I said, in terms of creative expression or even political identity. I don't think within the dominant or broader culture it's necessarily accepted.
I sat down with Aisha to talk about Black hair and its presence in culture.
When I see Black hair, I am amazed by the creativity that we bring.
There's also discrimination that surrounds it.
The 1800s to 2024, there has been a kind of policing of Black hair.
That's where the Crown Act comes in, which stands for Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair. It's a legal effort to try to prohibit race-based hair discrimination. The Crown Act has passed in 27 states Florida is not one of them. Lawmakers have repeatedly tried to pass the legislation in Florida. Last year, it failed in the Judiciary Committee. Race-based hair discrimination is something that disproportionately affects Black women. According to research, Black women's hair is more than twice as likely to be perceived as unprofessional.
People still get fired for having particular hairstyles or not promoted or seen as unprofessional.
It's something that's top of mind for Marissa Riley. She was getting her hair done when I visited Misha's salon.
In the actual workplace, I get comments. I'm very always self-conscious of what my hair looks like because it draws so much attention.
Misha tells me she's a proponent of the Crown Act and believes it's needed. While she waits for legislation to pass, Misha is doing what she can to educate the community.
It's real deep being a little Black girl who wants to be accepted.
Misha has started holding classes for kids ages 10 to 18 to teach them about the beauty of Black hair.
Our hair grows out towards the sun.
Wavy, curly, coily, and everything in between. Not only is Misha trying to teach kids how to love and maintain their hair, she's also teaching them how to be entrepreneurs.
We want to show these kids that, we are important and that we can be professional and that we can be seen even with our hair.
And Misha hopes to be able to teach more kids how to do their hair and how to start their own businesses. If you want to help her do that, I put that information for you on abcactionnews.com. Reporting in Tampa, Larissa Scott, ABC Action News.
No longer lost to time, the plan Tampa leaders now have for finally recognizing a forgotten African-American cemetery.
And later, we'll introduce you to Treasure Island's first Black female firefighter who hopes to inspire a new generation of firefighters. Thanks so much for staying with us as we honor Black History Month here on ABC Action News.
This month, the city of Tampa is unveiling a brand new historical marker to finally recognize a forgotten African-American cemetery, Zion Cemetery.
But our Chad Mills reveals why the marker is just one part of righting a wrong.
Bessie Turner, Mariah Tyson.
These are the once forgotten names, forgotten no more.
There are many, many, many bodies still buried here.
These are the names of the adults, kids, even babies buried in Tampa's oldest African-American cemetery, Zion Cemetery, in Robles Park on Florida Avenue.
This is truly sacred ground.
This cemetery was tragically lost to time, parceled out and developed about a century ago, rediscovered by archaeologists more recently.
We could be standing on graves where we are now. It's quite possible.
Fred Hearns is an historian and leader of the society, now working to preserve the cemetery. It's been a long road and a bumpy one since the cemetery is on land owned by Tampa Housing Authority and two private landowners.
It's only been recently that people have been able to boldly speak out about what we now know because we now have evidence.
But Fred believes the city is as close as ever to honoring the lives buried here at Zion. In just days, the first chapter of that recognition. An historical marker will be placed for all to see along Florida Avenue, telling the tragic story, the truth about Zion.
You're not going to be able to read all of the words of a historic marker as you're driving down the street. But what I'm hoping it will do is get people's attention.
But the next chapter of recognizing these names is still being written. Fred would like to see a permanent memorial here and a genealogy center.
Where all people can come, will be welcome to come and research the history of their family. And then also a place where people can come and pray and have quiet reflection upon what this earth means.
Fred says the city is still working with the landowners to make that a reality. But there's good news.
The message I'm hearing from the city is that we're very close.
Fred is more hopeful than he's been in a while. Hopeful for the recognition, respect, and appreciation these names, these lives deserve.
This is truly sacred ground.
In Tampa, Chad Mills, ABC Action News.
A Hillsborough County Middle School is still basking in the glow of a very special project that got a lot of attention recently. I visited Dowdell Middle Magnet School in Tampa, where I found out what started as a fun art project turned into a lesson on teamwork and changing perspectives.
They worked together, they had partnerships.
Stephanie Tamargo teaches environmental science at Dowdell Middle Magnet School in Tampa.
But for 1 week, she rolled up her sleeves and challenged her 7th graders to think outside the box.
Even though this is not a history class, we did a whole day about him and his legacy and what he stood for.
Their subject, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
He saved everybody, fought for equal rights.
Their assignment, to change perceptions and perspectives.
Since we put it all together, we were thinking about how he would do good things for other people, and even though it's a little like wonky and it looks weird, it's still good from far away and from up close. It doesn't really matter how it looks, it's just how you put your feelings into it.
From far away, you see one thing, a beautiful piece of art, but up close, it's something entirely different.
So everything on that beautiful piece of art could have been in a landfill, could have been in the trash can, and we took all of this beautiful junk, really, and made this beautiful piece of art to honor this great man.
5 days of collaboration and inspiration transformed discarded Gasparilla beads, loose Legos, pieces of broken plastic utensils, and other household trash into this, a thing of beauty.
It's very special and stuff. Like, it looks cool, looks beautiful. I think it's really like very amazing.
But the connection these kids made while creating this artwork is even more amazing.
There was people who don't necessarily speak to each other in class or outside of the classroom. They were interacting and asking each other for help, or pass the glue, pass that piece of plastic, pass that crayon, that marker. And so I think that was really neat to see that.
And even better to see this, their hard work on display at Tampa's MLK Day Parade, a symbol of unity, creativity, and teamwork. The artwork is hanging up in Miss Tamargo's classroom. The kids are working to get it framed and on display in the school's lobby.
This is Black History Month, and we're committed to sharing the stories of phenomenal people in our community you may not know about who are making an impact and paving the way for a brighter future. That's especially the case on Treasure Island. ABC Action News Pinellas County reporter Casey Albritton met the city's first Black female firefighter. Listen to how she's hoping to inspire the younger generation.
Ashley Hubbard's passion is her job.
It's a reward that you can do it and you're able to possess certain skills to help somebody, save somebody's life maybe one day.
Not only has she saved lives as a firefighter, but she's also making history.
I don't know, it just seems surreal a little bit, you know, but also it's a part of history. You know, it's 2025. I didn't know I was going to be a part of history.
Hubbard is Treasure Island's first Black female firefighter.
Just like it's a lot of first African Americans that are in this field. It's not many of us, so I think it's important as far as young kids who are inspired.
Hubbard says it's important to have diversity in emergency services.
Whether it's police officers, nurses, doctors, we want more people. It's relatable. You know, you see somebody like you might be comfortable with that.
She says it's important to highlight those who are paving the way for a more diverse community.
I hope I can inspire them as well to achieve their goals.
Hubbard hopes young African American girls know they can accomplish anything they put their minds to.
Definitely don't give up on that dream. Don't give up on that vision of being in this job, because we need females. We need you here.
I'm Pinellas County reporter Casey Albritton, ABC Action News.
Making a difference in the lives of children as we celebrate Black History Month, we'll introduce you to a Polk County teacher and explain how he's serving his students and his community.
I'm Michael Paluska. There's so much history in the waters of Florida. We're here off the Anclote River boat ramp where a treasure hunter says he found the remnants, he believes, of an old slave ship. But he said what's in the water is nothing compared to the story and the history of this place. On the beaches of Florida, some tourists have no clue they are walking in the footsteps of pirates. So there's buried treasure underneath.
Well, Ari was here.
Feet from this Spanish well, treasure hunter Captain Joe Ziga tells me there are chests of gold buried in just a few feet of sand. He tried to dig it up, but tells me Pasco County stopped him. So he's starting a new search.
It's just endless. The story of what went on in these waters here.
On a chilly January morning, Ziga and his treasure hunting partner in crime, Captain Sam Corey, took us out to an undisclosed part of the Gulf of Mexico.
They would try and hijack it.
Keeping secret the spot Ziga believes a slave ship named the Isabelita was anchored near Anclote Key. What is it like to know people come out and they fish, they jet ski, they kayak, they see the birds, but 204 years ago there's slave ships out here. It's kind of hard to reconcile that.
It's real. How people could actually do that back then and it was accepted is beyond my realm of thinking in today's age.
The way the story goes, a pirate named Louis Michel Aury, who Ziga believes buried that treasure near the Spanish Well, hijacked it.
He went after the ship and said, look, you give me the ship and I will let everybody go. You know, we're not out to kill people. We want the cargo. It had 95 Caribbean, African, Cuban slaves aboard.
95 slaves?
95. Wow. It's in the archives. And it was in the court case.
To free the ship stuck in the mud at low tide, the crew tossed the heaviest items overboard. What have you found out there and what is still out there?
We found the big 3-ton anchor, which is probably, I want to say at best guess by the pictures, probably what's left of it, 16 foot sticking out of the ground.
Wow.
We found the kedge anchors, which are 7 to 8 foot. And we found the giant pile of ballast stones.
Archives show Florida was at the center of the North American slave trade. This ship, called Wildfire, was intercepted in 1860 by American anti-slave trade crusaders, and it was sent to Key West. The Isabelita, captured by pirates around 1817. And the story who, quote-unquote, owned those slaves even came in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. What do you think this means for the history of Florida and for Black history?
My goal here is that maybe someone will reach out to me that said, my great-great-great-grandmother or grandfather was on that ship.
It's a dark past, but the legacy
Very
of
dark.
what it means.
It needs to be told. This will all be worth it more than finding those cannons or finding the other treasures that I'm actively seeking now and we're working on.
In Pasco County with photojournalist Reed Moeller, Michael Paluska, ABC Action News.
This Black History Month, we are sharing the stories of people right here in our community who are paving the way. Today, we're highlighting one Polk County teacher.
Ronald Shell has been a finalist for Teacher of the Year 3 consecutive times. ABC Action News reporter Rebecca Petit shows us how he's serving his students and his community.
Ronald Shell wears many hats. He's an educator, mentor, and founder.
If I can give 110%, I'm going to aim to give 110% each and every day.
Mr. Shell has 13 years of teaching under his belt. The 35-year-old is currently the math coach at Jesse Keene Elementary in Lakeland.
No, 7 times 5 is what?
Helping teachers improve their math instruction to enhance student achievement.
Who agrees that B is going to be the answer? B is going to be the answer.
He took on this role after helping his last school make major strides in state testing.
We were able to get their previous school to a C to an A, and our goal this year is to bring this school from a C to a B.
It's all come full circle for him as a product of Polk County Public Schools himself.
Stay local to try to help those in need and be a role model for those that need to see that, you can excel but still be true to yourself and your community.
Mr. Shell's passion for teaching was sparked as a 14-year-old when he tutored and mentored younger kids at the Boys and Girls Club of Polk County. Shortly after, he founded the nonprofit Positive Leaders of Tomorrow.
Provide opportunities for students, at high-risk students, to be involved in community, building resume, learning financial literacy.
His leadership skills continued at Polk State College in 2007 when he became a founding member and president of the Black Student Union.
Having a club where you celebrate the culture, but also celebrate the uplifting of everybody and bringing those diverse cultural events to the campus.
This is the 3rd year in a row that Mr. Shell has been a finalist for Polk County Teacher of the Year. He credits his host of mentors along the way.
The most rewarding part is those students who come back and thank me for instilling those strong work ethics in them, part of the Shell family. So the S stands for success, and success is what I expect.
A fiercely dedicated educator
who can explain why,
making a difference in and out of the classroom. Rebecca Petit, ABC Action News.
We're continuing to celebrate Tampa's Black history. We're taking you inside the Florida Sentinel Bulletin as they prepare to celebrate their 80th anniversary.
Welcome back. Next month will mark 80 years one local newspaper has been in circulation.
This Black History Month, ABC Action News reporter Jada Williams is taking us inside the Florida Sentinel Bulletin newsroom, where the family-owned publication prioritizes truth-telling and treating this community like family.
Where does the story start? Is it when the paper gets loaded in the press? Or before that, with a design in mind? How about on the street, finding the story? No, it starts about 80 years before all of that.
That's my granddad, that's my dad.
With C. Blythe Andrews III's grandfather.
They started the paper in Jacksonville. And unfortunately, they received word that the Ku Klux Klan was coming to burn their house down.
The family ended up right here in Tampa, where they reopened the Florida Sentinel. That was 1945.
Right, 2025 does not compare nowhere near 1945 and what they had to go through.
80 years later, that paper, born out of being a voice for black people, is now the largest black-owned paper in the state. Now Andrews III, who goes by Drew, serves as president of it.
We base our paper on giving you the truth, no matter what it is. We don't speculate, we don't have our opinion on if something happened.
Today, the bi-weekly paper's circulation is about 14,000. I stopped by to catch them as the printing press spit out copies that will eventually end up on stands at Circle K's, Walmart's, Wawa's, Publix's, and more across Tampa Bay. While it's clear people still yearn for the physical copies of the paper, they've embraced the digital age. Helping to make that happen is General Manager Terry Clark.
I love the job. I look forward to coming to work.
At this family-owned company, every single employee is an extension of the family, and their goal is that the readers sense that too.
It's a privilege to be able to do that, to provide for our community. But our role is to educate the people about what's happening, like I said, that we wouldn't get from somewhere else.
All right, now let's go back to 1967.
Every chance I got, I read the newspaper. Of course, the Tampa Tribune, which didn't have much news about black people, and usually when they did, it was something negative. But the Florida Sentinel covered every aspect of our lives.
A young Fred Hearns, fresh out of high school and an avid reader of the paper, lived just doors from Drew's father.
He hired me to work full-time during the summer. And that's actually how I paid my way through USF, undergrad school.
How much money was that?
$60 a week.
These days, Hearns only writes occasionally. Instead, he spends his time as a historian. But that journalistic instinct never leaves you.
The Florida Sentinel Bulletin sort of trained me, my experiences there, to be inquisitive, to ask questions and then follow-up questions to the answers that you get.
And if you ask Drew if he's proud to be the latest Andrews family member holding the reins, he'll tell you.
I wouldn't use the word proud. I would say honored, blessed.
Jada Williams, ABC Action News.
He's been a student, a teacher, a principal, an area superintendent, and now a member of the school board. Coming up, we'll introduce you to Henry Shake Washington and tell you about everything he's done for Hillsborough County Public Schools. This is Robert Boyd at Middleton High School. Well, he's been a student, a teacher, a principal, an area superintendent, and now a member of the school board right here at Hillsborough County Public Schools. His name is Henry Shake Washington.
What's up, buddy? How you doing? Oh, good to see you, man.
Walking around the Middleton High School campus, everyone seems to know Henry Shake Washington.
He's the founding father of this school.
All these people that hug me, I love them too. It's not a one-way love, it's a two-way love.
Looking at old yearbook photos, it's evident how special of a place this is for Washington. As a student, he was a star in 4 different sports, eventually earning the nickname Shake.
I used to have a stop and go move, shake, move, stop and go. And coach started calling me Shake. Shake! He's shaking. It's funny how you get nicknames. This is my senior class.
Washington graduated from Middleton in 1968, a year he'll never forget.
The school burned down, the main building. Teachers went on a strike. And Martin Luther King was assassinated my senior year.
He went on to earn a football scholarship at Kentucky State University.
My only outlet to go to college was play ball.
It was his love for sports that led him into education because he wanted to coach. and that began what would be a lifelong career with Hillsborough County Public Schools.
It's kind of touching because, we live a great life, The one thing that we had is love in this community.
It's fitting that Washington found his true love while teaching at Booker T. Washington when he met a fellow teacher named Cheryl.
We used to eat lunch together and talk and have a great time. And eventually we started dating. And now we've been married for 43 years.
Washington went on to become Principal of the Year 5 straight times at Chamberlain High School, eventually leading him back to where it all began.
Always a tiger at heart. Where we are now used to be a trailer park. I was the very first principal to open up in 2002.
You said that people were jealous because there was carpeting in the library.
Yes, when we opened up, we put carpet in the library.
No other school had that.
No other school had carpet in the library. A lot of the principals used to get them. How you get carpet shaking in your library?
Because you were shaking things up.
That's right. I was shaking things up to get what I could for my students. It brings back old memories.
Washington may have only been principal at Middleton for 3 years, but his impact can still be felt to this day.
One of the greatest moments in my life is when I brought the STEM program here. Science, technology, engineering, and math.
Janitor Earl Curbo says Washington saw potential in him as a student when no one else did, giving him his first job.
I thank God for Shake. You know what I'm saying? He saw something inside him.
While current principal Camila Burton says no one embodies the spirit and soul of Middleton quite like Shake Washington.
What have I learned from him as a leader? It really is the love for community and the love for people.
And the auditorium isn't only named after him, he helped design it.
I always go back to my family, my wife, my son, my daughter, and all them. We always has respect for people, and we always wanted to do stuff for the community.
After overseeing 34 different schools as an area superintendent, he was elected to school board, where he is now fighting for those he once worked alongside.
School employees should be paid. And I fought for that, and we got it. We got the millage, and we're going to continue to work.
He understands what it means to be a teacher in Hillsborough County, what we face, and now someone on our school board looking out for us.
Washington hopes to inspire future generations to shake it up when it comes to leading the way in education.
When you build students, you build a nation. And when students see me, that's your name on the building, and so forth. I say, yes it is. Then they won't ask me all these questions. It's a great feeling.
You're a celebrity here.
Well, I would say that, but I don't know.
In Tampa, Robert Boyd, ABC Action News.
Thank you so much for joining us for this special presentation celebrating Black History Month.
To see these stories and more showcasing incredible people who are making a difference in the Tampa Bay community, just head over to our website, abcactionnews.com. And for all of us here at ABC Action News, I'm Dia Riley.
And I'm Andrew Kinsey. Thanks for watching.